Hello everyone, this is Master Victor Newstroy. Thank you for coming to our webinar today. Today we are going to talk about cheating. So we are going to try to recognize whether you are playing against a cheater or you are playing against a cheater. And well, maybe it will be easier for you to identify it and report, because cheating is a real problem nowadays, especially on online platforms such as Lichess and chess.com. Especially in chess.com, there are a lot of cheaters. Well, chess.com is successfully fighting against it. Is fighting against it, but I cannot say that chess.com is successful with it. Anyway, guys, so please let me know if everything works properly. We are about to start. We are going to talk about the signs of a cheater today after we finish the homework. Okay. I need to change the battery of my mouse. You can, if you attend this webinar for the first time, you can introduce yourself. You can, for example, tell me which country you are from and what's your rating. And if you had played against cheater, please let me know too. Okay, perfect. So people are joining. So let me close this and let me open Lichess. For today, I also prepared a number of games where I think I was playing against cheaters, and then chess.com banned them. There are also some other cheating games that I found, so I'm going to show you. Okay. Yeah, I think almost everyone had to play against the cheater. Maybe not all of these cheaters were catched, not for now, but well, maybe if a cheater just uses a few computer assistants, if you just uses for a computer assistance for a few times in the game, maybe he won't be catched, at least not at this game. But when the number of such events, when he uses the computer assistance increases, then he definitely will be catched. So it's just a matter of time. Okay, we also need to check the homework. Just a sec, I'm going to... Yeah, so this is what we need probably. No. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm going to speak about both about daily and live games, but mainly about live games. Yes, sorry guys. Okay, I found finally I found it. So let's talk about the homework first. Again, let me share part of your screen, part of my screen actually. Okay, so here we are. People are joining. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute those who are not muted yet. But if you want to unmute, just let me know. So it's okay if you just want to say something, you want to share. So okay, like that. Do you see the whole board? Is everything fine? Because I had to adjust my settings a little. Also, I don't know why, but I don't see any comments on YouTube. So I'm also doing a stream on YouTube, but something went wrong with this part. Yeah, okay. So it looks like everything works. So there was a homework here. We analyzed, yeah, I think we analyzed this game. And there was a homework from there where I wanted you to suggest a move. There were a few suggestions. Yes, and both of them were correct. So the question was how white takes advantage here. So materially, the position is equal. White has better pieces. These pawns are the objects of the attack potentially. So what white should do? How white realizes their advantage? And well, I got the answers with rook c5 only. So what does rook c5 do for the position? Well, it's a good point. This is actually a very good move because it creates an attack of two pawns. This and this. Well, the game continued with this move. And then it was a3 played. Well, rook a5 this time doesn't work because of bishop f6. Capturing the pawn here doesn't make sense because of rook b2. And then this rook is hanging. Anyway, so it was a3, then e5 is still vulnerable. So they played king e6 and allowed the white rook to enter the enemy camp. If, for example, they didn't play king e6, but let's say what? Which other move to suggest? Let's say just rook f7 maybe. Then simply king c1, and then bishop f6 isn't so dangerous. So let's say this move, and then we can capture here already because rook b2 is not a problem for us because we have rook a7. So that's why sooner or later they will have to play this move. And this allowed us to enter the enemy camp and the position became much, much better. So for example, I'll show you what happened in the game. This move, then rook c7, rook b5, trying to save the pawn and control the d5 square, but bishop c6. And this is where they made a mistake. So instead of playing rook b6, which was played in the game, they'd better play rook to c5. Then bishop d7, the king moves away, rook to b7. This is a weakness. White dominates on light squares, but white is not completely winning. However, after bishop b6, white is completely winning. Who can tell me because of what? Okay, so because of bishop d7, yes, bishop d7 is right. Bishop d7 is right, so the king goes to okay, king goes to 6. Okay, instead of bishop d7, there is bishop d5 better because it covers the f7 square too. So the king can only have one square to defend this bishop. And then g4. So now g5 becomes a threat. So they take, and what they can do then? So for example, if they decide to move this bishop, then it's simply rook f8, and then it's over. So rook f3. This rook is hanging, so the king has to go to g6. But if we take, they take our rook on c7. But I think it's fine, right? So we take, they take. It should be a checkmate, right? This, he goes there, and rook h8. So that's why they play e4 to vacate this square for the king. But then even after bishop f4, they already pawned down and the game is completely winning. No, this is how the game continued. Another mistake. Take, and rook c8, pinning. Well, this is how we can gain the second pawn, but doing h5 is better. Well, h takes g5 would also lead to a winning position. h5 was played, and well, they sacrificed another pawn to get the rook covering h6. Bishop f5, and it's time to advance the pawn. Oh, finally, there was a very nice situation. So they're threatening to play this move, and then maybe either a perpetual check or just threatening to capture the rook. So what do you think is the most simple win for white in this position? Who can tell me? Rook e8, what's the purpose of rook e8? Okay, rook b8 is the other solution. Well, rook b8 is interesting, I agree. Rook b8, let's say they play rook h2. How do we win then? If you have any other suggestions, you're welcome to message me and tell, or you can unmute yourself and tell me what you think. King b3. King b1, rook g8. Well, it's a bit complicated, actually. Yeah, king b1 may work, but they take, and then they go back to cover it. Just rook g8. And how does it stop? So rook g8, well, they take here and then move the rook back to h2. It seems that they are covering the corner. Okay, guys, actually, it's much easier. You just promote. Why does it work? So now if they do this and they decide to move the rook somewhere, we can simply capture this bishop. Well, they can deliver a double check, but what's the purpose of these checks? It's just a rook blunder. And let's say this move, queen d4, that's it. So maybe this move, queen d4, and we are up a bishop and the pawn. So, well, if they take here, then we still are up a bishop and we simply take these two pawns and that's it. Okay, this is how the game ended. Okay, we had also the second task. The second task, the homework was from here. I was asking you whether it's a good idea or not to exchange the bishops. And this is where you actually had completely different opinions. So some said that yes, we should take and play a4, which was correct. So Paul is right. And there was another suggestion by John who suggested that it's actually not a good idea and it's better to play king e3. Well, no. King e3 doesn't work well. Why? Because they take, we take, and then they are closer to these pawns. So, for example, king e3, and if they play this, we win with king d4 because we are likely to shoulder the enemy king. I can show you. So king c6, for example, king d4, then what? No, let's say f6, a4, g5, f3, and the white's task is to let black to move, which would force the king to go back, and then we can capture on d5 and win the game. So, for example, doesn't matter how black plays, for example, this move, then it's this, and this is even a passed pawn. So it doesn't work. Maybe take, and then f5? No, then f4, and black has to move the king back. Maybe f5 in this position? No, because then f4 or even f3, and the king has to move back. So that's why after king e3, it's possible just to play this move and play king c6 after king d4. So king d3, king b7, king c3, still king c7. Every time white occupies d4, it's king c6, and that's why the game ends in a draw. So actually, it was good to exchange. Well, then the game continued with f3 move, which was actually a huge mistake. If then black played properly, the game would end in a draw. So what we should do in this position? a4 is still too early. So first, let's bring the king. King e3. Now what happens? So if they bring the king, we have king d4. Well, let's say king e6. So here we already may play f3 move because the king doesn't go to c6 in one move. So we can play f3. And after, well, if they play d4, we take and then we go back. It's fine. Well, let me show you how fine it is. So here, for example, we do not take, we simply create a passed pawn. So here, and he is out of the square of the pawn. This is how we win. This is the square of the pawn, and we simply win. He cannot promote this. This is too far. So this is how we win. Let's say king e3, what's then? Well, king e6, then f3 works. So let's say they take, and then we play g4, and then we promote two pawns simultaneously. If they play d4, which does make sense because once we take, they do this. Here we have to take f3 first. So king d5, and we promote the h pawn anyway. So f3 is a good weapon, but cannot be played immediately. Well, I don't think we need to calculate this. So here is simply f4, or even f takes g4, f takes g4, and king goes there. I like f4 more because we have always this reserve tempi. So for example, king d7, and then we can play king d4. They play king c6 to protect. We play a4, and they lose the pawn on d5. Okay, so king e3 works, then let's say a4 is the best move. King goes to d4, king e6 to protect, and this is how we win. c6, king goes there, c7, they take, and we simply enter the enemy territory. Which side do we go? If we go there, they are likely to capture our pawns on that flank. So the king goes there. King e7, king e4. Now, if they lose a pawn, the game is over. So f5, but king g5. And now after this move, the simplest solution is just h5. So we ruin their pawn structure, capture this pawn back, and it's a completely winning position. So this is how it works. f3, then king e3, and then king d4, and then a4 when we need it. If they play a4 themselves, then in this position, we just distract the king, capture there, go to the king side, provoking f5, and then h5, undermining it and capturing this pawn. So, in other words, this exchange makes the g4 pawn more vulnerable, and in order to defend it, black has to play f5, which weakens their position and allows us to capture the kingside pawns much faster. Okay, so we are done with it. Now, let's go to the main part. The main part is devoted to cheaters. If you have any other ideas that I'm not going to mention regarding how we can identify whether we are playing against a cheater or not, you are welcome to share. So I have a list based on my own experience and on my students' experience, but maybe you have something else. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen once again. This. So now you see, these are the signs of a cheater. Okay, so I can see your comments. Well, we can discuss them first, but let me open a study here. I created a study especially for this webinar. So there are a lot of games that I uploaded. So we are going to analyze 4 games. So today our webinar will be slightly different. So we are not going to play the games today, no simuls, no positions. So I prepared 4 games that I played myself, and we are going to analyze them and detect that that I was playing against a cheater. Then I have several examples where your task will be to guess whether one of the players is a cheater or not. Okay, fine. So first of all, let's talk about signs of a cheater. I'm sure you see my screen. By the way, before doing this webinar, I messaged chess.com and talked to them uh, whether they have some guidelines, maybe that may tell us that we were playing against a cheater and we must report a cheater after that. Actually, they said that anything which is out of regular. So I put it here as the last factor, as the last sign. So anything that, in your opinion, is not regular, some uncommon behavior may give you a hint that you probably were playing against a cheater. But let's talk about the most important criteria. So low average centipawn loss. Well, actually, it's not the most. The most one is that when you are outplayed with no chances. And this tells you that probably this guy is a cheater because, well, you didn't have any single chance to neither play for a draw or no for a win. So that's why well, do I lose because I made so many mistakes or I was just totally outplayed? And if you see there are no huge blunders in your game made by yourself, maybe the guy was cheating, and then you are starting analyzing the game in detail. So here chess.com doesn't show it, but if you upload this game to Lichess, you can calculate you can start the computer analysis and look at low average centipawn loss. Well, or if you prefer to analyze the games on chess.com only, then you can look at the accuracy of your opponent. If it's high enough, then this guy was likely cheating. So what is average? What is low average centipawn loss? Okay, let me explain. And we are going to start with it actually. So let me share the screen once again. So, for example, my game, well, I've commented it in Russian, but it's not important. We are going to discuss it a little bit later. Just let's go back. So look at, this is the computer analysis. What did I do? I just uploaded the game to the study, did the computer analysis on Lichess, and what do I see now? Okay, so, well, I made inaccuracies and made mistakes and even blundered twice. It was a blitz game, so it's fine for a blitz game. My opponent had only 1 inaccuracy, 1 mistake. His accuracy was quite good, and average centipawn loss was 29. Well, it's maybe he is not a cheater, actually. If this number is below 20 or below 30, it depends on the number of moves. For example, if the game is short, about 20-25 moves, then most likely his average centipawn loss is below 20. If the game is longer, then it can be below 30 and he is a cheater. So what centipawn loss means? So a pawn in chess, according to the engine, costs 1. So if your opponent made a move that is worse than the best move suggested by the engine by 1/4, then he loses a centipawn, 1 centipawn. If this move is worse than the best engine solution by half of a pawn, then he loses 2 centipawns. So, for example, one inaccuracy is well, it can be 1 or 2 centipawn loss. One mistake can be also 2 or 3 centipawn losses. So if we eliminate these numbers, then the average centipawn loss will be around 20. But maybe by looking at this number, we cannot say that this guy was cheating. So let's take a look at the other game I was playing. So here, look, 2 inaccuracies and average centipawn loss is 13. So most likely this guy is a cheater. Okay, and then you are trying to look what these inaccuracies are. So queen c5, well, it's a middle game. Okay. So this move, what is the second inaccuracy he played? E5. Okay, what's the purpose? Maybe he played this moves himself, but the rest of the game was played by the engine, because you see the number is 13. It means that he was almost playing with the best, with the first line of Stockfish, probably, because I analyzed it with Stockfish. So this guy was a cheater. Okay, so these are two important factors. So you were outplayed with no chances. He has a high accuracy, and his average centipawn loss is relatively low. So let's analyze this game. So because there are some other factors that can also tell you that you are playing against a cheater. So this, I had the rating, it's a blitz rating. So my rating is almost 2200. I think now it's 22. But he plays, well, this guy is 800 only. So how is it possible? And the 800 guy playing so well. So knight f6, d4, queen. Okay, so looks like he doesn't play the best line. Here, knight f3, knight e6. I completely forgot that it's better to play this and then d5. So this, queen d7 and then d5. Because he cannot take. If he takes with his knight, I take it. And then I deliver a fork and again a knight back. So, and here I just forgot and played this move. So knight b4, knight b5. Well, a human player here would definitely bring the queen back as it is in this scenario. Or maybe he spends a lot of time and came up with queen c7 move, where the queen is the object of the attack, but at the same time create threats himself. So he played queen c5, and he did it quite quickly. Unfortunately, there is no timings here, but okay. I'll let you, we will show this game then. I'll show you this game later with, yeah, so c4, I defended and also protected the c2 square, knight g4, so he attacks here. Well, and this is an issue because how do I defend it? So queen e2, queen d2. So I choose knight fd4. So queen d2 was better. And this is what I didn't realize, that after a6 and the knight goes back, I simply blunder here. However, now it seems that he didn't use engine in this position because he played e5. I think this move was played in order to illustrate that this guy, he wanted to show that, yeah, well, I'm not a cheater, I'm just a strong chess player. So he played d5. Well, if he was a cheater, he would definitely take on d4 with no doubt. And I blundered it, actually. So he played d5, showing that he was a human player. Well, then, well, maybe h3 was better, but then I'd lose here and I lose here. So I took. He takes with the bishop. I cannot take because of queen f2, so I play bishop e2. And now he finds queen d4. So I take here. The key idea is that once he exchanges, I take back. So he could just take with queen on g4 and continue with extra pawn. Then I would castle and he would probably win after that. Well, actually, I can defeat 800 player without a rook. Without a piece, I would definitely find how to save my position. But here I didn't have any chances. So knight d3, check, and attacking here. So I had to move my king. Now what? Well, this is a possibility with the idea to castle and take my queen on d1. but he takes on g4, f3. Now again this and this, but he castles. No, then well, bishop e3 is a move, but then I just blundered the checkmate on f2. So well, I wasn't playing well here, right? But at the same time, looks like this guy was doing his best moves. And well, and some of his moves were made by himself, not by a cheater. I mean, not by the engine, probably to get me confused. Well, if, for example, I was playing against international master, then I would say, yeah, well, he is not a cheater. Probably he is just strong enough. Okay, so now I would like to enter chess.com and show you this game because my equal time intervals between moves is my next sign of a cheater. So let's check his timing. Where is this game? It's on the second page, probably. Okay, let me, well, who I was playing with, Mr. Chess King 3. Okay, I can search by live, blitz, or rapid actually, blitz, rapid,
by opponent.
and where I lost. Yes, it's possible to search by opponent, but I wanted to get all my losing games here. So this is him. So look at here, the time control. So if we 3 minutes. He is playing quite fast. Well, it's the opening. I'm playing fast too. Well, this is where I took time because I didn't know what to play. And he still plays quickly. Now he doesn't spend much time here. So 5 seconds, which is definitely not enough to not 5 seconds, but almost 7 to decide that this is a good move and it doesn't blunder anything. So you see the moves that he is playing are within a certain time interval. So this queen d4 is only it takes more time. I think the reason is that he decided to play a few moves himself and then turned the engine on.
I think I have what's maybe a good question in the chat.
Okay, what's the most okay, so what do you think is the main motivation for most cheaters? They know they didn't win on their own skill, and it may, well, so they have actually two motivations. One motivation is to gain some rating and to like to demonstrate that they are not bad in chess. I don't know who they demonstrated to, because it's like self-cheating. Because if they use engine, they are winning. Once they stop using engines, they are losing. And cheating doesn't help to improve at all. It even they are addicted to using the engine, and they cannot find the moves themselves. So this is one motivation. They don't want, they want to get their rating higher, and maybe other people will consider them to be strong. There is another motivation which I don't understand fully. So, for example, once I was playing Simul, and that was a casual game, right? So with no ratings. Well, and the guy was lower rated than me. Well, and I think it's a kind of a honor to play against a FIDE master, especially when you don't need to pay anything for that. Mm, well, if I were playing with a FIDE master, well, at least once a month when I was young, when I was just studying chess, then, well, I would really appreciate it. So, but that guy used engine and defeated me with no chances. So what's the motivation of such people? Well, I don't know. Maybe some of them consider it's fun. similar to what, for example, happened on one of our webinars when videos were allowed, and uh, there was a hacker who streamed some porn movies, if you remember that. It's kind of internet trolling. So, well, I don't understand the purpose. Do they want to show that they're better than me? But okay, well, you're better than me if you use engine. But why do you want to show that you're better than me? Your task is to show that you're better than you were a day or a week before or a month before. This is the goal. So it's a like you should develop your own skills, not showing that yes, you can defeat the FIDE master. Because in real, you cannot defeat the FIDE master only if you use engine. So it's actually not you, but engine can defeat the FIDE master. Okay, and one more thing. It's a personal pride to not lose. Well, and the third reason to use engine is when, well, sometimes the positions are tough enough and you just cannot come up with a move. You just don't know what you should be doing in this position. And then you turn the engine on, and the engine tells you the move, you play it, and then you are trying to play on your own. So this is cheating too, and I want you guys to avoid it. So it's just kind of occasional cheating, but it's still cheating, and it's still bad, because if you get to the position where you are in trouble and well, it looks approximately equal, but you cannot come up with a move because you do not understand what you should be doing, the engine helps you once, but doesn't teach you how to solve these issues in future. Because you can get in such a situation at the very next game, and then what? Do you turn the engine on? And will you always rely on the engine? So, well, it's me relying on Chat GPT every time I want to write emails for you. So, well, yeah, some of my emails consist of some phrases of Chat GPT, but I usually ask Chat GPT to correct my mistakes in English. But the whole concept is written by me, or some are written by my assistant. He's a FIDE master too. So yeah, sometimes I ask him to prepare the games for the webinars. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there is no point of playing a game with the engine. So it's just, well, it's just self-cheating. Okay, perfect. So, well, this guy was using engine, but sometimes was playing the moves on his own. That's why it's not so obvious when we do the analysis. If he was a grandmaster or a master, and he would consume more time, more than he did, I would say that he wasn't a cheater. But it looks like he made these decisions quite quickly. Okay, so, well, it's definitely not not a good game. I played really badly. But I thought that against 1800 player, I could play, even with a bad play, I could defeat him. Okay, well, now this game. So, yeah, just let me check. Let me go to chess.com again and find this game there. So you see, I'm playing against secret account grandmaster. Yeah, well, he is not a grandmaster, obviously. He's just a cheater. Okay, these are cheaters too. But I wanted to find this game. Okay, well, maybe it does make sense to search by opponent. Opponent, and his name was Song 14. T0 Song 14. So, Brian, you have a very nice suggestion to invite students to submit the game for analysis themselves. But yeah, I did such webinars. However, just a few students sent their games to analyze. Okay, so you see we have two games, and I would like to show the one that is longer. It's 29 moves, but he was cheating in both, and both I lost. So, and I also wanted you to notice that it's very often when cheaters use like suspicious flags. For example, this guy seems to be from Saudi Arabia, which he may or he may not. But I noticed, that's again, according to my experience, I would, well, now I'm not 100% sure about it, but like a year ago, it was exactly like that. So people using Indian or Middle East countries' flags are more likely to be cheaters. Well, I don't know explanation of it. This is just what I noticed according to the statistics. But it seems that, for example, chess is, well, there are not so many good chess players in Middle East. That's why they want to show that they are good, so that's why they cheat. As for India, it's just because there are a lot of chess players in India. And of course, you can meet some cheaters among them because, well, the population of India is huge, and so they like chess. They play a lot, and of course, I can meet some chess cheaters from India. But chess.com allows you to change flag without any problems. You can change it to anything. For example, if you go to my profile, so I am originally from Russia, and in FIDE, it's still I still have Russian flag. But here I put Argentina. Why? Because I live in Argentina, and so I think that it's quite obvious if well, it's quite natural when you put a flag of the country where you are residing at the moment, or the flag of the country where you are originally living. But for example, if you're traveling to the tournaments, so now, well, you can keep, let's say, United States, but if you're traveling in Europe and playing in the tournaments there, why not? It can be still the US. So I live in Argentina for more than 1 year, so I put Argentina. And chess.com didn't ask me for any proof, so they didn't ask me to confirm my address or anything. So actually, a lot of cheaters can put any flag they wanted. But I noticed that so people from Middle East and people from India are more likely to be cheaters. So if you see this flag, this may indicate you. It doesn't mean that such a person is a cheater. So I'm not going to discriminate any country, but this is the statistics I collected on my own experience. Okay, so this is how we come up with other signs of a cheater. So low average centipawn loss, this is what we're talking about already, very high accuracy. So if you analyze the game on chess.com, it shows a very high accuracy. For example, here, well, in this game, I played 91 and 4, which is okay for a FIDE master, but this guy played 95 and 3. So if the game was short, and for example, one of the players blundered a piece in the opening and then resigned, then okay, there can be a huge accuracy. Or if the position was simple enough and then the game ended in a draw, it still can be a huge, like 95 or 92, something like that. But 29 games, and this guy played like international master or grandmaster. So looks suspicious, especially if he is from Middle East. Well, if he was a grandmaster, there was a title here, or he would. Okay, so if he doesn't have a title, but he has a relatively high rating, then he's likely to be a cheater. Also, if there is a huge difference between rapid and blitz or bullet rating, because it's harder to cheat in blitz comparing to rapid. Okay, so what else? Equal time intervals between moves. This is what I mentioned. Low time consumption in crucial and sharp positions. So if you see that the position requires calculation, but your opponent plays really quickly, well, maybe he calculated this line before and he makes the move according to the line that he had in mind. But most likely he is using computer assistance, because chess players usually like to double check themselves and calculate the line once again. Well, if it's blitz, yes, sometimes it's possible to play by intuition, but not every move will be lucky. So time consumption in the simple positions. For example, if, like, say, in a certain position you capture the pawn and you expect he captures back immediately, but he spends time. This means that probably he runs the engine and is looking for the next move. He is not playing on his own. Like, yeah, but this is about the positions where the move is obvious. Like, you capture, they capture back. Like, you check, he has only one move, he moves. Or he has one obvious move and one move which is suspicious. So he makes the obvious move, and but he spends a lot of time. So then he probably runs his engine. Okay, so no title, this is what we talked about, and anything which is out of regular. So if you have any doubts based off other signs or indicators, then it makes sense to analyze this game, and if you're not sure, still report that he was a cheater. So chess.com checks the games that are reported, and they have a definitely better algorithm. They compare all the games this player played, and yeah. Okay. Okay, so John was accused of cheating. But John, well, okay, let's look at your profile. If you don't mind, of course. So, okay. Well, yeah. Well, I don't think you are a cheater. Your accuracy is very well, it's average, 85. Well, probably it's maximum accuracy in blitz games. So yeah, well, I don't think you're a cheater, because sometimes you do not play well. Um, Sometimes you do really well, but well, I don't think so. Well, definitely not. Well, it rankles, but well, who cares? I usually do not chat. Well, if someone wants to chat me during the game, no, I don't want. Because in the game, I only focused on what's going on the board. If he wants to chat, we can discuss it after the game. Okay, let's continue. The second game that I would like to talk about was this one. So, well, this is a theoretical opening. Everything was played according to the theory. Castle, well, h3 is better. Well, for example, they are about to play this move. Okay, then it doesn't work because of h3. But in this position, it may work, because after h3 they take and play knight c6. So my c4 pawn is hanging. So that's why I played c5. Again, it's not a mistake. Well, you see the whole screen, so you see all these computer evaluations, and also some Russian notes here. So white has a very small advantage, but there is an advantage. So bishop e3, then he takes, which is a bit unnatural. So because they weaken the king, I have a bishop pair. But if you look, this is not what the engine recommends, actually. So bishop c3, b takes c3, queen c7. So looks like he played the opening that he knew and suddenly decided to take on c3, but I don't see the point. And I think then he starts playing really well. So this move. Well, looks logical. He wants to take here as well as here. So I play bishop f4, he takes. I take there, hoping to take this one. And in this position, he plays, he should play e5. Then I was about to play this move, but he plays queen c5. Well, this is first inaccuracy. So it seems that he's playing on his own. Queen takes b7, and now he does a5. Well, he does a5 because he cannot take here. I take the knight. e5, I play bishop h6, and then he is in trouble. This and these are hanging, but rook fd8 saves everything. So, and now he's in a really bad position. Well, his king is weak. He can replace the knight, but still my position is good. Well, yeah, I should somehow bring the queen to f6, but then I played bishop e3 just to gain a tempo. He takes. And since then, I think that this guy was just cheating. Five, bishop g5, attacking the rook. Well, you see, the rook can move anywhere, but he chooses the best option. I play rook e2, and again, look, so there are two good moves, knight e6 and rook ab8, according to the engine. And let's wait, so the engine stops, and again, yeah, well, I don't know when this game was played, but I think at that moment, rook ab8 was considered to be the best move. Now it's a better version of the engine, so he thinks that rook knight e6 is slightly better. That's why actually, when I analyze the games, I use 3 or even sometimes 5 lines to see, well, maybe he played according to the first line, or maybe according to the second line. And both moves were approximately equal. So queen e4, now he does rook b4. Okay, so it seems that this move is not suggested. But if you look, if you increase the number of lines, it's here. So 5 lines. Then rook b4 is among them. Well, here. So probably when the game was played, Stockfish considered rook b4 to be better than anything else, because all these moves are approximately equal. Okay, okay, actually, let's keep it. So rook b4, well, queen c6, queen b5. Again, queen b5 is the best move this time. What's the purpose of the queen exchange? Well, yes, I'm doing some attack, but, well, he can just double the rooks. This is what I would play to get some counterplay here if I were playing with black pieces. But queen b5, the best move. Queen takes b5, rook takes b5. Well, it's obvious. Then I play rook c7 to get some activity, so quite a natural move. And then I blunder a knight e6. Well, knight e6 is a fork. I can still play rook e7, but I was low on time. So this guy is obviously playing by the with the engine. I don't know from which moment. Maybe starting from knight c5, actually. Maybe even the whole opening was played. Yeah, here, let's say h3, so bishop f3 is the best move. Yeah, looks like this is also played by the engine. So then what, knight c6? Well, yeah, knight c6 is obvious. Here I play c5. Well, he may not take, actually. Maybe knight c8 is a good move. He takes, then knight c4, but he plays knight d7. However, knight d7 was a good move too. And even taking on c3 was not bad. So this guy did play according to the engine, but not according to the first line. And also he defeated me in 2 games. Okay, the next one. So I was playing with white pieces, and it was a rapid game, actually. So this is the case where I was doing a simul. It's Traxler counterattack, so I play according to the line, bishop d5, d6, take here, then play d3, then queen e8, so I castled, so everything is good. And this is where I made a mistake, so I played this move. But this is not a critical mistake, right? So I'm still fine according to the engine. I'd better do this move, then bishop e3 and knight d2. These are the moves I should play. So rook f8, and again I played another mistake, but this is a natural move, right? So, and this guy is doing this attack, attacking here, so I have to play d4. He takes d4, c takes d4, and now knight f2 is the best move. How this move can be the best move if he gives up two minor pieces for a rook? Well, for me, it's not obvious. So I thought that actually it's fine. He has to move the bishop there, then I somehow protect with knight f3 maybe, or with f4 actually. Well, I didn't wanted to play. I didn't want to play f4. I wanted to play f3 in this case. Yeah. So, but he finds this knight f2, and somehow he decides that this is a winning position. And so this move wins the game because I cannot stop it. Did he see that? Well, I didn't. Well, of course it was a simul, so I didn't do my best. But anyway, c takes d6, c takes d6, bishop e3. So I'm trying to save the game, but then, well, I'm not so much material down, so I have two pieces, two knights to compensate the queen. But again, this guy is doing his best. Well, he did play very good moves before, and now he continues doing them. So this h6, knight goes to f3, I defend, and again e5, so rook f8 is the best move. So there are two good moves, queen e4 and rook f8. So he chooses this because he creates a threat of taking here and there. So I play h4. Again, what's the best move? Let's wait until queen c2 will be. Okay, well, he plays queen c2. That was not the best move according to the engine, but still fine. Yeah, these are two inaccuracies that he played. If you look at the statistics, there are three inaccuracies totally. Probably at this moment, he started playing on his own. But because the position was completely winning, he was able to defeat me. And look at the game. So I was better. Then I started making mistakes, and his advantage increased slowly with no mistakes, with no ups and downs. So this is where he started to play on his own, and I get some practical chances, but maybe he then turned the engine on again and started winning and started defeating me. So this is where I could have some chances. So probably rook e3 and e6. Well, yeah, and then I lost it. So, well, king f4 was a mistake. So here I'd better play king h3, but then I thought that he exchanges. And I was also low on time. Okay. Okay, the last game. This guy, the same player. This time I was playing with black pieces. It was a lapping variation. Bishop e3, knight f6. So actually, knight f6 is a mistake he should take. But okay, knight a3. Okay, this is what I know. C takes d4. He goes there. I play queen there. That's absolutely right. So here the best move is to take with the queen. This is according to the theory. But he takes with the bishop. It looks like he plays himself. Then I play knight d5. Well, Yeah, well, it was better to chase him away. I play knight d5 to protect this. I don't know what for. Okay, now he takes the pawn. Again, it's the best move. He could take it with the bishop, with the knight, but with the knight is better, and he uses the engine here. Well, I try to stop him coming back. A3. So what's the purpose? It's the second line of the engine. Maybe the first of some engines. But this is not what a human player would do. So a4 is what the human player would do with the idea of knight b5. Yes, the knight is already defended by the bishop, but what's the purpose of playing a3? Maybe instead they'd better just develop their pieces or save the knight. A3, okay. So if you see your opponent plays very unnatural moves, then you can well, this is what I call anything which is out of yeah, anything which is out of regular. So c4 allows me to deliver a check, maybe even this check to take here on a7. So because here, if queen d2, I have bishop b4, and after this I have this. So queen a5, well, this doesn't make sense. So king e2, but then I can check here and maybe take here. Or, well, oh, I don't know. Well, definitely not c4. Ah, you mean a3 is played with the idea of doing c4? Well, then maybe, but it's not obvious. So he does this, and then he takes on g7. That was not a blunder, it was a sacrifice. However, looks like to be not a sound sacrifice, because bishop g7 is the best move. Bishop d4, and then I play knight c7. I don't remember why. I wanted something. Ah, I wanted to stop the knight from escaping. That's the reason. Queen goes there. So, yeah, queen h5 is among the best moves. Yeah, if I wanted to catch this knight, it was better to play e5, actually. So queen h5, bishop f6. Probably queen h7, and then queen goes back. This is the solution. Yeah, but yeah, it's totally unnatural because he completely ignores the developing of his kingside pieces. So here, bishop b6 is the best move according to the engine. Then I play rook g5, he takes, and the king goes to e7. Well, it was actually already a mistake. And this is where I realized that I should resign, because I already assumed I was playing against a cheater. And now look, again, it's white is slightly better, which is opening advantage. Now he played inaccuracy, I am better. Then I made a mistake, and then he is always better, better, better. So probably he started, I think he started playing with the engine from knight a7 move. Okay, guys, so you can take a picture of this, the signs of a cheater, and if you see anything of this happening, you can analyze the game in details, turn the engine on, and see if your opponent played in crucial positions. He played according to the engine lines, and then report him to chess.com. So please report everyone who you think is suspicious, but do not accuse if you are not sure. I mean, if you just think, okay, probably he's a cheater, let me report him. No, not like that. Okay, so probably I was playing against a cheater, then I analyzed this game in details, and if these criteria that Victor told me are met or are partially met, then he can be a cheater. So do not cheat if you are not sure. Instead, analyze. And if you see that, yes, because of some other some other factors, there are some other indicators he was a cheater, then only report him. So chess.com will react. Maybe he will be banned immediately, but he will be banned in a week or two. So I have a good example. Today we're gonna work on. Today, instead of a simul, I have a kind of a quiz for you. So look at these games. For example, let's use this one. I move it here. So chapter 5. Chapter 5, two players were playing. Well, now, we suspect one of them is a cheater. Now this will tell us who. Well, obviously it's black, right? 99% accuracy, and there was one mistake. Okay, let's take a look at this mistake. Okay, in this position, there was a checkmate in one. Instead, he takes on a2. Well, what can I say? Maybe he was trying to win on his own. That's the reason. Well, queen c2 is not playable because of this, but rook b1 is a checkmate. So he was cheating, but at this moment, he stopped. I don't know why. Maybe he thought that the position is already winning and he can defeat his opponent on his own. Well, yeah, well, then he won with the only move. So you see, the pawn can be promoted. It was better here just to take this pawn and then continue the attack, especially if you're low on time. Well, he wasn't. He had 5 minutes. But he played this, this, and this. So now it's a checkmate. The pawn cannot get promoted even. So this guy was a cheater. And actually, he was my student. And once I realized he was cheating, I messaged his mom. I talked to him and I messaged his mom. Well, I talked to him. I was explaining how bad it is cheating, that he will never progress in case if he still continues doing cheating. Well, did he listen to me? No. Did his mom listen to me? No. So she said, no, he's not. He is my clever boy. He's winning games. And I think he was motivated to win the game. So probably she promised something for him once he wins the game. And he was, I think, at that moment 11 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It happened 4 years ago. So then they stopped doing classes with me. So I didn't say that, well, this guy, he is cheating. I sent a proof to her. So I analyzed his games. I showed that he plays according to the first line with detailed explanations. I took a picture of Stockfish suggesting the move. I took a picture of his moves. I also provided her with these statistics, and I also provided her with the statistics of a Grandmaster's game, telling that, well, he's a very gifted grandmaster in such a case. So he's doing better than grandmasters usually do. Look at the games, look at the statistics. I demonstrated my games where I was doing my best and my average games to compare the difference. So she didn't believe me. She still owns $80. No, not $40, I think. She still owes $40 to me, and we also stopped doing classes. So this is what happens. So parents usually believe to their kids rather than to their coach. To the coach of their kids. Okay, so this is where he was cheating. Let's look at this game. So what do you think? One player was playing against another player. So let's analyze it first. So it was London against the weird version of King's Indian, knight f3, so h6. And this is where white makes a serious mistake, because one of the common ideas is to play this move. So they cannot play e5 right away because d takes, bishop g5. And now e4 doesn't work because of the pin. But once h6 is played, it works. And white completely misses it, playing h3. Now e5. Okay, so white is in a tough situation. Because e4 is coming. So if the bishop moves or d takes, the bishop moves, then e4, and they lose a piece. So that's why white decides to sacrifice a pawn. For example, knight takes, the bishop retreats, and e4 is not playable. If, well, of course, it's possible just to move this knight back and then move this. But then e4, maybe there is something with this move. I'm not sure. So c6, take, and maybe knight goes here with knight d6 ideas. Maybe some counterplay. So this is what white was hoping. But e takes e4, so they gain here, and then they take on e3, and this is a very strong. So knight c4 was probably the best, but white plays this with the idea of attacking this pawn in future. So this is also an accuracy. And the most logical move is to take. However, it's knight e4, which even becomes a stronger move. F takes e3, and knight goes there. Now this and the rook are hanging both, so they don't even take the pawn on c6. Well, so doing this means queen e3, and then the rook, the rook is not lost. So rook g1, queen e3, bishop e2 is a must, right? But this is a decisive advantage. So here, king d2. Maybe it wasn't the best move. Okay, according to the engine, the best move was queen d2. No, king d2. No, actually, king d2 was fine. King d2, so sacrificing the exchange, with the idea of doing this and then threaten with some complications. But rook b8. And now, after this, it's bishop d7, and black avoids material losses. So d5, again, not clear why this move was played for. Knight fd4, this, the rook goes to attack f7. So white is looking for some practical chances. So g6, g4, trying to take here. Well, h5, they want to activate the rook. The move is not obvious. Queen takes d5, so looks like white gained the pawn, but then they gain a pawn back and activate their rook. So here white decides to put pressure on f7, and looks like they already achieved something. They forced black to even being down the material, so white is down the exchange. They forced black to defend, but h takes g4, bishop takes g4, and now, well, they are low on time. It's 1 minute left, so they play rook f4, which is natural. And instead of saving this bishop, for example, very often when one of the players is low on time, the other player is trying to play on time and keeps playing quickly. So, for example, moving the bishop, maybe bishop h5 with g5, so the bishop will be protecting this pawn, is a good idea, but he plays this move. So the queen has to retreat, and then f5, which is a good move too. e4, but after bishop h6, it's time to resign. So looks like black took advantage of the white's mistakes only. But no, they were doing it in their best way. So starting from here, it looks like black realized that they have enough advantage to play on their own. So d5, this, b6. So b6 is a good move, actually. It's the second line. No, actually, they were playing according to the engine. So it's either the second or the third line. So no, the guy was completely cheating. And the statistics proves it. So average centipawn loss is 17. Inaccuracy, well, it's only e takes e4. And what was the best move? Knight takes d5, knight d8. Okay, knight d8. Okay, so only this move was played on their own. And I think actually this move, okay, so yeah, maybe from this moment, yeah, they started, yeah, I mean, somewhere from here, they started doing the moves according to the engine. Okay, now the second game. So we can quickly go through it and you will tell me if black was cheating or not. So London system again. So, well, here actually, guys, I suggest to take with the e-pawn. According to the engine, there is no big difference, but taking with the e-pawn provides you with the control over the e-file, e5 square with your rook. So this, take rook e8, queen d2, queen b4, then a fork. So queen takes queen. So knight b4, taking the bishop goes to b1, rook a d8. Now white wins the exchange and enters the enemy camp. So, but it seems to be a mistake because then the rook is trapped. So rook c1, rook b8. Then knight goes there to activate the knight, right? Knight e8. So the rook is trapped. Rook takes, pawn takes. c5, knight c7. So knight d7 is a kind of maybe inaccuracy. So the rook goes there. Then the knight goes there to attack c6, f6. So they allow white to take. And then white initiates a plan to promote a pawn. Now they bring the king closer, check and exchange, and then they're trying to bring the king to that side. f3. Well, I don't think f3 is serious inaccuracy. Okay, g3 is a weakness. So this move threatens with a6 and b7. So they have to take. g4, bishop checks. So if the king takes, then it's promoted. So it's a simple tactics, but king b8, this. And black actually, yeah, plays this move and wins the game. Because the only way to save is bishop f3, but then knight g5, f4, and the h-pawn is promoted. This is what exactly happened. So black won. What do you think? Is it a normal game or black was cheating? You can instead of sending direct messages, you can just send the message in the chat. So we are trying to guess. Okay. So what do you think? So Brian thinks it's a normal game, and these are 1800 rated players. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, sorry, Peter. Well, you can unmute yourself, and if you see that I'm not reading your comments, so I'm yes, okay, sorry, but I didn't want to read your comment regarding that chess.com doesn't display Russian and Belarusian flags. Why? Well, because of the war. So yeah, it's true, but okay, so yes, let me write. Let me read it. The Italian game is likely to be the first and the main opening that players learn. Okay. No, well, doing Italian game is not cheating. And I think playing slow Italian is not so exciting. So I would suggest something else. I play Italian game myself, but I know what I'm doing. Okay, well, there was a good comment by Peter that I didn't read because I missed it. So Peter thinks that in general, younger children who make up a lot of chess players would be more likely to cheat because they are so competitive, and that's why, because they cannot be competitive and be better than others, they feel so bad losing. Okay, yeah, John, I agree. Trapping the rook seemed high level. Yeah, it also was not obvious for me, especially for these players. Okay, so was black cheating here? What's the answer? So Brian thinks no, John thinks yes. Okay, if no more suggestions, then let me explain. Okay, so look at the average centipawn loss of black. It's 27. It means that a lot of moves were played according to the engine. Well, sometimes when the position is simple enough, just making an ordinary move doesn't make a centipawn loss because, well, there is no big difference between the move you played and the move that the engine suggested. So in simple positions. But this was a very tough endgame where calculation was required. And also the game consists of 57 moves. It's a lot. So 39 with a lot of inaccuracies, mistakes, and blunders is common. But 27 is suspicious. And if we analyze the game, for example, if we analyze the endgame only, let's say here, rook d8, white is +2 and 3. But then, look, white loses his advantage slowly, step by step, and then makes a blunder. Of course, the blunder was crucial, but uh, black doesn't make such a blunder. They are approximately equal players according to the rating. So it looks like starting from a certain moment, black turned the engine on. So this guy, the black player here, was actually a cheater, and later he was blocked by chess.com because of cheating. Not sure after which game, but he was blocked. So white was doing well, black cheated. So the first part of the game they played, they didn't use any. I mean, the first part of the game was played by just ordinary players. But starting from a certain moment, maybe even starting from 98, but I'm not sure. But definitely the end game was played by the engine, and the engine can defeat everyone. So their rating was about 1700. Okay, by the way, guys, so I forgot to tell you, so if you want to support my webinars, if you think this content is helpful, please use this link to donate. So it's easy, just click on the button, then click the amount you want to donate, and then you click PayPal, and the amount, you enter your PayPal account, the amount will be directly transferred to my account, to my PayPal account. Okay, so it helps me a lot. It also helps me to pay the work of my assistant, the other Russian FIDE master that I'm working with. He very often helps me with the content. He collects the games for me, and then I choose which the games I want to present on the webinar. So I ask him, for example, so the topic is this. Please send me the games devoted to this topic by famous grandmasters, and he is searching in the database and some books. So, and then I choose which ones I want to present. Okay, fine. So this is the link. I can copy this link also here in the chat. Okay, yeah, let's continue. So the next game, again, it was weird version of London. So bishop f4, this time e3, d6. Well, and white was in a rush, so he blundered on g2, but black didn't take. Can you imagine it? Black didn't take. Okay, then white realized his mistake and played knight f3. Bishop g7 castle. So again, it was this. e4 is not playable, so don't worry. e4, we still have enough defenders. Knight e7, c3. Castle, rook e1, rook e8. So white played e4 himself. White seems to be slightly better. Knight goes to c6, pressuring here. So white plays a defensive move to defend it. Then the knight attacks the bishop. The bishop goes back, and then c5. Well, c5 hangs the pawn on d6, but attacks here. So white simply took this pawn. Knight goes to a6. So white decided to move the bishop back to g3, which was an accuracy, but anyway, c takes, knight takes. So knight c5, e5 to close the bishop and close this attack. So knight b3, a takes b3 to activate the rook. Knight c5, b4, knight e6, this. Then the queens were exchanged in order to capture on a7. But then white realized that in case if they capture on a7, I think it was bishop here. No, actually, why didn't they capture on a7? Bishop f5. Yeah, bishop f5. And the key idea is that if bishop takes, it's rook takes because of the back rank mate. And if this move, then bishop g3, and there is still a threat of a back rank mate. So this bishop d5, well, rook d7 was played, which seems to be a logical move, but then resulted into a mistake. So here bishop e5 works. How does it work? So if this move, then it's this, and after rook takes, it's f takes. So this rook is under attack. So black has enough time to save the bishop. Rook c1, so they both makes mistakes. Bishop h6. So bishop h6, they want to capture only 5 because of the pin. So rook c3, rook a6, b3, chasing it away, but then it's rook a1. So rook goes back to d1 to defend. The bishop goes back. So bishop f2, I don't understand the purpose. Oh, white is just playing some moves and finally loses everything. So was black cheating or not? Now look at the statistics. So it looks like white lost by their own mistakes. Which happened here. No, this is a mistake. So the position was equal. Okay, actually, I don't remember myself. So it seems that it's not a cheater was playing the game. But still, average centipawn loss is so low. There was 36 game. Maybe it wasn't a cheater. Anyway, so this guy, the black player, was later banned for cheating. So probably he wasn't cheating here, but he was, or he was cheating occasionally. So this is the most difficult situation when a player cheats occasionally from time to time. So for example, he doesn't know how to play a move in this position, then he turns his engine on, looks at the move, then turns the engine off and continues playing on his own. In such a case, to catch such a cheater takes more time, but such a cheater was finally punished anyway. Okay, Let me now demonstrate another game. This. So, well, this and this game. So 2 games. Let's first take a look at the number of inaccuracies and centipawn losses. So 96 and 97. Average centipawn loss 9. Here 92. 1 mistake, f3. Here 1 inaccuracy, b5. Were these guys cheating? Who knows? Let's see. So the game looks quite natural. So queen a4 looks quite attractive, right? 96, 94, pinning the knight and adding pressure. Then bishop takes, pawn takes. Bishop d3 instead of e2. Well, d3 is fine. Queen takes. Then e5 is going to happen. So f3, b5 was a mistake. f3 was a mistake too, but look, okay, there was a pawn sacrifice in order to take on d2. Now rook c1, exchange. Rook e3, attacking on a6. The king goes there to bring the rook to the edge file. And now it seems like a draw. So finally they agreed to a draw. Okay, so who is cheating in this game? Both white or black or nobody? Actually, yes, John and yeah, John is absolutely right. It's Brian's game. Nobody was cheating here, but the position wasn't sharp enough. That's why even logical moves were not much worse than the best continuations by the engines. So, well, they just exchange everything. Well, nobody blundered it seriously. Well, b5 is a huge strategic mistake because it gives up the control over these 2 squares. Well, this is just an exchange, having in mind the idea to attack e3. So the rook defended, and this is where white didn't blunder anything. So that's why actually sometimes if you see that the position is simple enough, there can be low average centipawn loss, and the players were not cheating. If any of them was playing according to the engine, then one of the players would win probably, or the game would be much longer. Okay, now the other game. Black won, but let's look at the statistics. Black made only 2 inaccuracies. Average centipawn loss is 12, and it was 47 moves. 47 moves. That's, yeah, 47 moves. Well, white made 7 inaccuracies, which is much more. Average centipawn loss is 21, so it's well, quite suspicious too. Let's talk about the game. So you see black played e6 and then e5. Is it according to the engine? Oh yeah, e5 is the best move according to the engine. Castle, bishop is 7. c3, castle is the best. d3. Okay, d6 is the best, but h6 is fine too. Bishop f8, defending the pawn, that was obvious. Rook a1, then d5 works, but d6 was played instead. Knight a3, now bishop goes there. h3, d5, and knight h2, which is the first inaccuracy. And black takes advantage of this inaccuracy immediately by doing d4. So the knight goes to f5. Okay, so here b5 is probably the best move. D takes c3 is fine, but black chooses queen d7. g4. Now d takes c3 was played. B takes c3, rook a d8. Again, so b5 was suggested probably with the idea of doing b4 in future to get the control over the d4 square. But rook a d8. Bishop f1. Again, b5, b4. Here, black plays c4. c4 is worse, but not a bad move at all. D takes c4, knight a5, trying to gain this pawn. Queen f3, knight h7. Why? Well, because it was a threat of knight h6. h7, bishop e3, knight takes c4. So bishop a7, knight d2 is the best move, but rook a8 was played. Bishop c4, bishop c4, bishop a3, rook takes a2. So rook a4. Okay, rook a4 is not obvious. Maybe there is pressure here. Maybe the idea is to double. Rook a2 was played instead. Rook takes a2, queen g3, probably to support the attack or just to bring the knight back. And queen c6 was good, but instead queen d3 with the same idea. Bishop c1, queen takes queen, rook c8. Bishop goes there, knight g5. Attacking here, so h4 is the best move. Knight e6. So again, the position is approximately equal. Black had some very small advantage, but after the exchange of the queens, it seems that it's still equal. f6 defending, knight f5. Well, not sure about this move, but the rook wants to invade the enemy camp. It's obvious. g5, h takes, h takes. There is a rook invasion. c3 is the object of the attack. Also, black has a bishop pair. This bishop defends to attack here. So the e4 is lost. This knight takes, knight takes. So white is black is a pawn up in this situation. So black is increasing their advantage. Now c4, bishop e6, and c5 was an accuracy. So c5 is an accuracy because with bishop d5 the knight is restricted. So they both bring the kings. And finally f5 with f4, which traps. So f3, this is a mistake too. And this is a mistake because black simply takes and passes the game to the winning bishop endgame. So this, and in this position, king d5, because this move fails. So this is where black is winning. So what do you think? Well, it seems that white wasn't cheating, but was black cheating? So, but look at the statistics. Oh, 12. So what does it tell us? It tells us that average, low average centipawn loss not always tells that the player was cheating. It might tell that the player was cheating if the position was sharp and it was difficult to take the best decision by human player. For example, if there are a lot of lines to calculate, if there is a lot of tactics and a lot of tactics, there is a sharp position, there are a lot of approximately similar candidate moves, but the evaluation of these lines is a result, I mean, that are similar by the first glance, but actually they are completely different and lead to completely different positions with different evaluation. And all that requires good calculating skills and time, which only the engine has. So this game was played with 2 hours per side, with 30 minutes increment, 30 minutes extra time. And I was playing with black pieces. So my rating at that time was 2220, and my opponent was 2420 or 2440. So he was 200 points higher than me. He was trying to do his best. I knew that he plays this opening. So that's why these moves I played, these moves were played not by me. This is what I prepared before the game. So I knew that he could play. I also was expecting him to play another opening, and I prepared two actually. So this line and one more line. So he played this and d5. This is what I played, and then I thought that my position is good enough. I can withstand his kingside attack. He continued it, but you see that at a certain moment he just couldn't realize that instead of continuing the attack, he'd better switch to the positional play in the center. So not every time it's cheating when it's low average centipawn loss. But if you think that the game, but yeah, if it was a game with 5 minutes, if it was a blitz game, then we can say that probably one of the players was cheating here. Oh, wait, here black. But when black has enough time to calculate the lines, and there are not so many sharp lines to calculate, and the human player can successfully come up to them himself, then this game can be okay. Moreover, it's over the board game, so where cheating opportunities are limited. Okay, so, well, let's finish for today. There is a question, name your all-time favorite three chess players. I will name two. So Garry Kasparov and Magnus Carlsen. There is no homework for you guys, but if you want, I can send you this PDF with signs of a cheater. I don't know whether you like this webinar because it's completely different, and I'm not going to do such webinars in future. I will mainly focus on the progress, on some educational component, like positional play, like tactics. Uh, but because cheating is a problem, maybe these guidelines will help you. Well, I'm not as good cheater detector, for example, like Vladimir Kramnik, but at least I try to do my best, and at your club players level, you can at least get closer to understanding whether you're playing against a cheater or not. Okay, so if you have any ideas regarding the topic of the next webinar, you can message me at tricksofchess@gmail.com. So, any strategies for holding the position? Okay, fine. Okay, yeah, let me think about it, and probably because this cheating webinar was suggested by one of the subscribers. Well, there is no way. Well, one more thing I want you to remember. If you think that your opponent is cheating against you, do not cheat against him, because it will be considered as cheating anyway, and you both will be blocked. So it's fine if you lose to a cheater. So there is no need to turn the engine on yourself and okay, so if you violate rules, then I will violate rules too, but defeat you anyway. No, lose to a cheater, it's fine. So here today, machines are better chess players than human players. Again, so the link for you if you want to support my webinar is here. And we are done for today. So see you next Sunday, same time. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Bye-bye.